What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Vince Rashad, aka the Truth Terrorist 2, coming at you live and in effect. Finna drop some of this good game on you just for a minute. Stopping through just to check on y'all. Been gone for a minute, but you know I swing through from time to time. But I come to reveal something, and I'm gonna hurry up and jump into it like the Truth Terrorist 2 always does. Back in the 80s and 90s, if you're just a little bit old school, you might remember when Afro-American queens, since we can't say black woman no more, you remember when our Afro-American queens and goddesses started wearing weave. A lot of women were kind of smart with it. They started off real slow. They'll add a little bit, then add a little bit more, then add a little bit more, and then a little bit more until it was about halfway down their back. But some women was just stupid with it, you know. They just would just go from 2 or 3 inches of hair to just weave all over the place. I mean, just weave all down to the ankles, you know, just dragging hair behind her. Gotta get her kids to carry it, you know, like a wedding veil or whatever the hell that is, whatever, you know, like what women wear in a wedding, you know, just weave, just dragging behind her, you know, just ridiculous. And it took men a minute. I say women fooled men for a good 4 or 5 years, but eventually, probably up to a decade, really. And, you know, and this video, by the way, is also somewhat of a response video to my man, Ron Willis, about, the alpha males banging, you know, like chicks who are under 5. And I had wanted to respond to that. And something that I wanted to say is that just like it took men in the 80s and the 90s up to 5 to 10 years to kind of catch on to what women was doing with their weave, you know, their hair, men have to catch up on what's happening right now. And one thing I'm going to tell you, you know, most of my life I lived along the Gulf Coast, South Mississippi, South Louisiana, you know. Coming from around the New Orleans area, I tell you this, New Orleans has a more advanced gay culture than Atlanta, Georgia. Like in the 90s, the late 90s, and to tell you the truth, around about 2003, 2004 is when all the punks started moving into Atlanta. And everybody, you know, basically ran into that. You know, if you moved into Atlanta or North Georgia, you know, Northwest Georgia, you know, you was going to run into gay dudes because so many gay dudes just arose by way of the big gay population arriving into Atlanta, the big black population, and the gay population came along with it. But the French Acadian culture of New Orleans has been gay for a long time. So the gayness down there is hyper advanced. It's 2 or 3 decades ahead of the gayness in in Atlanta. And part of the reason why I point this out is because black women, or better yet, our Afro-American queens, the goddesses, are now going to transvestites and letting these trannies put this makeup on them. Because, you know, she looking at the tranny like, if he can go from looking like a complete damn man to a woman that I'm damn near, or something that looks like a woman, dressed up like a woman, made up completely like a woman, looking more like a female than me, getting more attention than me, you know, because men who can't tell, and many of these trannies have mastered every single art of covering up all these features, from Adam's apples to knees to legs, you know, calves, hips not wide enough. These trannies be having on, in New Orleans, they used to have on pads, you know. The ones who didn't get butt shots, they would basically have on pads. Almost like these little football pads they order off eBay. They give their hips the appearance of being wider. There's usually a lot of stuff you can look at. It used to be that trannies was made up in the face. But you can look at the rest of that body and tell that ain't no damn woman. That's an old punk dude. But nowadays, these trannies since so completely mastered the art of doing that, a lot of women are going to them. And another thing that you need to know too is that, I call this cocooning because these women go in this bathroom, and I literally saw a woman who had a makeup box that looked like a little laptop computer. And she was talking live to a tranny, if I'm not mistaken, on some app. I don't think it was Snapchat, but it was something where he had multiple screens up. And her camera was showing her face, and it would show different angles, and he would be instructing her, telling her exactly what to do. Like cover up the area between her nose and her face. It gives her more of an even looking expression. She wouldn't have to try so hard to smile a lot. She'll have more of an even, okay looking expression because the girl had a serious, droopy looking expression. And, these trannies can lighten up. Look at how dark the girl is on the left. Now, look, the girl on the left is perfectly fine to me. She's beautiful as is. But, many dudes will be looking at the female on the right after she done made herself up and be like, oh man, she's an 8, she's a 7, she's an 8. Oh, what's up with that dog? And see, in response to Ron Wheels, this is what I was talking about. It's not totally and completely that a lot of so-called alpha select men are messing around with 3s and 4s as much so as these 3s and 4s are putting on this makeup, transforming. And I done seen balls with semi-electrical, like electrical little brushes and stuff, little spin wheels on these things. This makeup then got advanced to where you got a little makeup robot connected to Wi-Fi, to help these balls do what they do. And like I say, I call it cocooning. And they can make themselves several shades lighter. And one more thing I wanted to add was that this is how the girl on the right, this is how, it's the same girl, but I'm talking about the made-up girl on the right. This is the big new thing I wanted to point out. And this is the dual, D-U-A-L. This is the dual life that the Afro-American queens are living. It's a dual life that they're living. This is something that we need to hurry up and jump onto, just like we jumped on weave back in the early 90s. And to tell you the truth, it was a lot of women who actually pointed that out, because women who wasn't getting as much attention as the girl with the weave would always say she got on the weave, kind of implying, Negro, she don't look like that underneath all that, motherfucker, But this is called cocooning, and a lot of these brothers, so-called alpha, and you might be somebody's alpha. Keep that in mind. But these so-called alphas, they are actually banging girls that are 3s and 4s, because the woman as she appears on the left is how she probably just goes around looking. But the woman who is the so-called 8, 9, or dime might actually be a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6 who just lifted herself up a couple numbers. You get what I'm saying? And that might be how she looked for you, or that might be how she looked for dudes who she's attracted to, or another specific man. A lot of these women you can stand right up next to on the elevator and not even tell who the living hell she is, compared to the woman you was with last night. That was the female you was with last night. She lived up 3 stairs above you, dog. You didn't even know it. And you'll be sitting up there on the elevator right next to her and not even know that's the same girl you was with last night. So skin lightening and cocooning is what I call it. I started to call it cocooninization, but cocooning is what it is. And like I said, this is somewhat of a response to Ron Will. And just a heads up warning to you brothers, be on alert, spread the word. And you brothers out there, make sure you make more videos like this one with, cocooning or metamorphosizing in the title to inform these brothers of what they banging. Because you could be with a chick by 60, and when you get them clothes off and see nothing but them gray hairs around her pussy, your ass gonna be looking crazy. Anyway, it's your boy Vince Rashad. I'm up out of here, man.